morning, everybody. I'd like to begin our Auburn Public Library Board of Trustees meeting. Tonight is Tuesday, July 7th, 2021. I'd like to call the meeting to order, but I need to begin with a script that I have to read regarding the open meeting law. This is an open meeting of the Town of Auburn Library Board of Trustees. It's consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, which suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have meetings in a publicly accessible physical location due to the state of emergency due to the outbreak of COVID-19 virus. Further, members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to remotely as long as it's reasonable, as long as we provide reasonable public access that's afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meetings. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will allow for public comment under agenda items. The public can join. We've provided the link for the website as well as the telephone number in advance on the agenda. Also, supporting materials of the body are available on the town's website. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. As a preliminary matter, this is Mary DeCourcy, Chair of the Library Board of Trustees. Permit me to confirm that all members of this subcommittee are present. Matt Toth?
Present.
Jennifer Shea?
Present.
Excellent. Can I turn the floor over to you as the chairperson of this subcommittee?
At least a coordinator. We've got materials. Jen did something.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some materials about the amendment to the charter. And I think if we can take a look at, see, I've got some stuff and Jen has some. If we can take a look at, basically what this comes down to is in that section, in the letter that we have from Town Council from September 8th, 2020, where there's all kinds of conversation about open meeting, but then gets down to substantive issues, responsibility of the Library Board of Trustees. There's a section down there, 3.06A, and what Town Council said is, with that information, we have no responsibility or authority to do much of anything with the library, other than non-operational policies, whatever that means. And on page 6 of that, he does make it very clear that although the reorganization chart does list information, boards elected by the voters would be exempt. He has interpreted that to say that those boards are exempt from the authority of the town manager, that the town manager has authority over those boards that are voted and elected, but made it clear that there's nothing to do with the library. So it's pretty clear that the singular charter change that would have to happen would be in section 3, which would be to add the Auburn Public Library Board of Trustees to that list. And that's really it. But Jen has, you've got Jen's, and you've got mine. I don't know. Let's see what we've got that's similar or different in those.
Yeah, so
Jen?
in my notes, I took what we have in section 3.2 and altered that for the Library Board of Trustees, so it follows the flow and that there would be section 303, so your selectmen, school committee, Library Board of Trustees, and then incorporated within that the reorganization from 2009, was that when it was? Mm-hmm. Notes that had the library board's descriptions of their pieces together. So you're bringing in that we're elected, we have this here, and then noting the partnership with the town manager, so that the library director, library department, division, how the charter sees that are duly supported the town manager and the library, not one or the other, going over that, and then making adjustments to a few of the sections that don't have those caveats but list selectmen and school boards. So like 306G notes, except property under the jurisdiction of the school committee, well then that should be included and the library board of trustees. Same as in section 401, it notes in addition to a board of select, a school committee we should be adding and a library board of trustees, so that they're distinctive, and the library board of trustees follows the same guidelines as the board of selectmen and the school committee, and then tweaking the areas where there's a few sections that list the library part of that as those boards you just mentioned, Matt, that they should be removed and contradict themselves of 2 members to 6 elected members to that before. So cleaning those up and removing those sections, that's in 304 and 401F, have the 2 that clearly expressed components that are not necessary with the new addition of 303 for the library board of trustees.
In how do we reconcile some of the information in the derbies? There shall be a lot. See where there's a difference here. There shall be a board of trustees shall consist of 6 trustees elected by the voters who will serve without compensation except that they may be reimbursed for actual and necessary expenses incurred in the performance of their official duties, comma, the library director, comma, and other such personnel authorized by the annual town budget. Is this from time to time? The Board of Trustees shall be responsible for the performance of the functions of the library department and may delegate the same to the library director. The library director will also report to. Are we different in any part of that?
Yes. So I don't have your piece where you come after the incurred the library director. So I'm stating that there shall be a library board of trustees of 6 members with the compensation ridiculous. Then the library board shall hold office, so it's keeping a consistency with the board of selectmen and school committee. So like we don't all have to run for re-election at the time of change. So the notes about we continue to hold it, and that we continue to hold adoption of the charter change until our terms expire, and then the election piece, and then the next paragraph is the piece. The library board of trustees shall head the division, which shall consist of 6 trustees elected, the library board director, and that. Just cleaning up a little bit of the library board of trustees, and then this is clear. Mine is clear that the library board of trustees is the head of the division, which includes trustees, director, and any additional personnel as out for the town.
I think that we can't use the word division there because that's not the reorganization. We'd have to say head of the department.
Okay. And then I have the same that you do at the end, that the library director also reports to the town manager. So again, it's an emphasis of an addition. And then I put in the line that the library board of trustees, alongside the town manager, shall be responsible for the performance of the functions of the department and may delegate the same to the library, which is part of the original reorganization paragraph. So, and the town collectively together disseminate responsibilities.
I thought that the line that says the library director will also report to the town manager would be sufficient instead of talking about all the responsible for the performance of the functions.
I mean, I think we can play that by ear with the town council. It's 6 and 1, half dozen the other to me. I was just trying to incorporate the 2 school committee and that reorg piece.
Yes.
I would agree with you that this is clear, or even if we took that sentence to say the library director reports to both, or the town manager and the library board of trustees supervise, whatever. I think you could do something in any way if we wanted to clarify that to make it stronger if we chose not to have both, but I'm not, in one vote or the other.
We can, part of this, we're not voting on anything anyway. We're
No.
going to present the full board to vote on.
Sure.
We can incorporate both. Good to have that 306 and 401 because it does take care of it all. And honestly, that takes care of most of the information.
Yeah, I tried to find any spot where there was selectmen or school committee listed there and incorporate it because to me and what the town council said that unless we were a part of that exclusionary group, all of these other pieces included us, even though there are of statements throughout the charter that say elected officials would be part of an exclusionary. It's a little bit of a wash there, but those two particularly felt that they needed to have this new section noted or library board of trustees added for reinforcement. Although you found a lot more than I did.
Not necessary. Because once it was clear to me from that September 8th letter, nothing else matters. And if it's in there in that first section section 3, if it's in there about the board of trustees, then the rest of it doesn't matter because it just doesn't apply.
Yeah.
Because it's not consistent with the consistent with the charter.
I think that's just the clarification with town council. Is there another spot that's missing information? Yeah. But I think as I read it, this now would align with the two 301 and 302.
And actually the town moderator.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah, and 3. I pushed us into 3, the moderator. It's a page break, so I just threw it in the middle there. But yeah, I think those all file well within that category.
What I'll try to do before we have that full meeting is put the two of ours together on this, and then really have what would be the special act for amending the town charter.
Yeah. With
these two things. And then, what I thought, to go one step further in my thinking, if it's okay.
Yeah, of course. Sure.
I thought the committee would probably write a letter to the town manager. It would be something like the Auburn Public Board of Trustees, Library Board of Trustees, requesting you to ask town council to assist the board in assuring that our proposed special action to amend the charter does restore the role of the Auburn Public Library Board of Trustees. We have attached our best effort to reviewing the documents from town council, town charter, and reorganization. Write a proposed special act to amend the charter. The goal of the amendment would be to allow the Auburn Public Library Board of Trustees, as it did prior to the town charter and reorganization plan, including the hiring, goal-setting, evaluation of the library director, as well as returning our role in approving the budget and setting the objectives for spending. We appreciate the assistance of town council, understanding that we are not allowed to request help from any other attorney, as stated in town charter. If possible, we would reply before September meeting of the Board of Selectmen. We would like to be on the Board of Selectmen agenda for that meeting. Thank you. So, this is a letter that I would propose, and then the Board of Trustees can decide what they want to do with that.
I would only suggest that to your line, the charter stating that we need to utilize town council unless there is a special approval. Yep. I think we need to say if the town manager is not willing to make that request, then we're granted approval to utilize outside counsel. I think it just reinforces that we're trying to make a concerted effort here to ensure that the original goals and purposes are there and that we're serious about the efforts being made. So if it's not going to be utilized as our original request, that we have a secondary request then to have that ability to go ahead in that direction.
I'll figure out some way to do that. But it's funny, after the hours and hours of going over this stuff, I can't, and looking at his letters, that's all that matters,
Yeah.
is that section.
Just having its independent
That's right.
piece.
Selecting to function the way they do, the school committee to do what it does, and what they did before the charter change, and what we're asking for. It's not.
And what the
too much.
reorganization document
Yeah.
states, although it is not held to the same level as the charter, it's reinforcing that same piece. And it's just pulling out the identity of the board as a fully elected role, and we are working in partnership with the town manager and the town and the library staff to ensure that we are meeting all of those pieces. But just like the school committee is doing, just like the board of selectmen do, we have to follow that same kind of output.
It is really interesting, the kinds of things that the town council lists for us to be able to do. And I guess it's the thing that's the most difficult, that we have the right to do a strategic plan, which really is an overlay for what the library is supposed to do, which is a great thing.
Mhm.
But I guess for me, in whatever conversations we'll have with the Board of Selectmen or with the town meeting members, is to understand how absurd that is when you're not allowed to ask a question related to those issues.
Which is that you can't create a strategic plan and have it be successful if you aren't able to fully invest in the evaluation of the progress of said plan. That would be like, saying we're going to have a new town plan and then no one ever evaluated at any point to know whether we did anything or not. You want to have the dual relationship of going through the whole process.
An entire board of trustees wants measurable outcomes in a conversation, and you can never have measurable outcomes. What is the point of it all?
Right.
It doesn't really make much sense.
Well, we're here to support and continue
Yeah.
to grow and promote and engage with, not take from, but there's all lots of ideas and experiences that can be brought forth from a more interactive and two-way street engagement.
Absolutely.
Well, and to me, you can't, every time anybody has an idea, say no.
Yeah.
It's not any good.
Or table conversation.
Yeah.
When there's only so many ways in which we can have
Yeah.
those conversations in a fruitful and respectful manner, so we can all support the efforts.
Well, we're not on this board because we have anything antagonistic about the library. We certainly want to support the
I
library.
hope not.
Yeah. And
Through the
That's
lens
just-
of a growth model,
yeah,
right?
I did, just for the heck of it, I put on one page 5 and 6 from the town council first, what with that third way of changing.
Okay.
So that we could ask the Board of Selectmen to accept that special act amendment and allow the town meeting members to vote on it, and then send it to the legislature. And as council indicated, we can write in the special act that once the town meeting has accepted it, that we're finished, that we
Yeah.
really don't have to go any further than that.
And it's not a substantial change.
Yeah.
No.
It's a merging of current documents and clarifications. It really is as simple as that, and it's, out of left field plan coming in here saying, let's do something we've never considered before.
That's what it was. But after a while, I had pages of stuff, and you can't write a special act or an amendment with pages and pages of stuff. And you don't put your rationale really in that. We're talking about restoring the role of the library board of trustees. It's pretty simple.
Pretty simple.
Now, it's when we talk to the Board of Selectmen, and hopefully we have the town meeting, that's different.
But even then, that's still straightforward in the sense
Yeah.
that the library Board of Selectmen and the school committee have their, and the moderator have their
Yeah.
sections. I gotta not ignore them just because they're on different page.
Yeah.
They have their discrete pieces as elected officials.
Yep.
They have their role and their autonomy to help support that piece in conjunction with the town manager. The reorganization piece explicitly states our role to do all of that, but it is not clearly articulated as it should be in the charter, and we're just asking for the clarification across the board. So it really, well, if you look at it and say, we all agreed to work,
Well,
we all agreed to these seasons to support it, it all started as the original document you have, 1873.
Yeah.
That we're here, we're supporting it, we just want to make sure it's clear, so if, God forbid, we're all hit by a bus and someone else comes in, they can see what that is and understand the support and the role and the engagement to move forward.
it is interesting because until probably 2015, we were functioning in a way that you call very collaborative. And then that all changed, and that's really why we're here.
Right.
So I hope that we can get with this. And I hope that the full board is willing to approve this.
Straightforward information to share with the August meeting.
Yep.
Pre the board of, for, the new potential member to be joining.
Yeah.
And be appointed to the board and go from there, so we can hopefully have a straightforward discussion come September.
Yeah.
And present this to the board of selectmen and say, we need your support to move forward with this.
There's really not much reason to confound that meeting in August by bringing this up, because they will have already known that anyway. They will have heard this, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All that we wait until we're ready in September.
Yeah, if we're going to utilize our August meeting pre the board of selectmen with that appointmentship, to get everyone on the board of trustees to understand, here's our letter, here's our proposal. We're going to ask to have this presented at the September meeting. There to answer questions for the library trustees with the board of selectmen, and then hopefully this moves forward.
So
The only holdup would be if town council delays a review of the page that we're asking for review on, to fit the amendment. I think that's really the only potential.
Because it's consistent with what he said before.
I mean, we're not
If it were
creating
different-
anything new, we're
That's
just
right.
pulling from what's there.
So are you saying on the agenda, it will be an item that we're just foreshadowing, that this, you'll expect to hear from us presenting on this matter in September?
Well, I think for Matt's letter, in that when we meet in August with a larger board, we'd be getting everyone's buy-in that this is good
Okay,
in August.
Okay.
And then we would be submitting that to the town manager to request the support from town council. And I think you probably could add Matt even on that letter, that we want to be on the agenda for September
Okay.
for the board of selectmen.
thanks for clarifying. Okay.
Maybe that could be the one tweak you might be, if possible, state, we are requesting to be and would like to receive feedback prior to then, so we can have a fruitful discussion.
Great.
I think that might be clear, so we're putting everything there and already asking to be on the agenda in September. I guess my only logistical question is, when is that September meeting?
It's the first Wednesday in September.
Is us, but if we're meeting with the Board of Selectmen,
Correct.
when is theirs?
They meet on Monday.
But Labor Day is the 6th, so does that get pushed? Is it the 2nd or the 3rd?
I don't know.
You mean it gets pushed back?
What would it be on the holiday?
No.
So that's why I don't know.
I don't know if it goes back to the following Monday, or is it, wait, we can find out from Sharon.
Yeah,
actually.
absolutely. Yeah.
You want to call, or you want me to call her?
I'll go.
Okay, good.
So I think then we don't need another subcommittee meeting unless we don't hear back pre a September Board of Selectmen meeting to be a part of.
I agree with
And if we felt we needed one, we could always add it in front of
that. That's right.
our actual first Wednesday of September, which would be fine.
Sure.
So if we create a packet that shows the letter, the draft of the letter, what we're to do, why we're proposing to do it, and that we would approval of the whole on the August 9th meeting, selectmen's
Right.
meeting, right? And then our plan is, obviously, we're going to joint interview the appointees, or the am I trying to say, the applicants is the word I was looking for. And from that, we'll decide how to move forward, how to put together that information, get it to the town council. And I want to just go back to what you said that I thought was really important when you said, we're requesting to work with the town council to move forward, but we'd like permission to use an outside. It's not something that is able to be done. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just,
That's really
that's what I said. I think
Yeah.
the clarification is our August meeting is us as a large board of trustees, the full board of trustees meeting.
Correct.
And then our
Correct.
meeting with the board of selectmen solely to figure out who's being appointed / interviewing applicants for the board.
We may or may not vote that day. but-
Yeah, and then September would be, we wanna be at their board of selectmen meeting and be on that agenda. Our large, full board of trustees library committee meeting would be still our normal time. And if we chose, because we've heard back, a discussion, whatever the case is, we could do, it's 6:30 full trustees meeting on that 1st of September, which I think is the actual date. Then we could say 6 o'clock, we meet for the subcommittee, and then 6:30 we would have the full meeting.
I like it.
Sounds good.
6:30, that's great.
Turn this to you now.
So, well, let me ask you this,
Sure.
though. We have a few questions on that. Just want to go through the agenda. So we met, we had you had motioned in the last meeting for me to pre-approve the minutes.
Right.
So my question is whether you wanted to do that again
Yes.
tonight. Okay?
And I'll tell you what I'd say.
Mhm.
In fact, that we reviewed the materials from town council. We came to the decision that we're using section 3.0 to insert Public Library Board of Trustees as an independent authority with its own responsibilities. And that's it.
Yep.
And that we're going to bring this to the full board at our meeting August 9th.
And I second that
So
motion.
you motion and you second. Very good. Agenda, we probably didn't need, but it talked about asking for a distinction or an explanation from the town manager about differentiating between the terms operational and non-operational so that we could move forward as a team. She did respond to the email. She said she'll compile that, but she didn't give me anything yet. But she said that was a reasonable request.
And I think that's also the larger, full
Correct.
piece we had.
And then finally, we've discussed how we want to move forward as a subcommittee. Do we have anything else on the agenda before we move to adjourn?
I don't have anything.
Okay, so before we adjourn, our next meeting is with the Board of Selectmen, Monday, August 9th,
We
2021.
don't have a next meeting as a subcommittee. Our
Oh, I'm
library board.
Thank you for that language. Our next Board of Trustees larger meeting, thank you, will precede the Board of Selectmen meeting on Monday, August 9th, 2021 at 6 p.m. in Town Hall. We will then, in the joint session, interview all of the candidates. We have 4 candidates for the Library Board of Trustees. And if we don't have any other matters, I think we can adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
I second.
Excellent.
Good.
Thank you.
You know,